Nepal is on fire, literally and figuratively. Parliament building burnt down, portraits of leaders hurled down staircases, and tens of thousands of young citizens fill Kathmandu's streets, chanting, "Shut down corruption, not social media." What started as a simple digital crackdown has exploded into the biggest political crisis since the monarchy fell. 19 protesters are dead, hundreds injured, and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has been forced to resign. This isn't a minor tantrum by tech-addicted youth. It's a generational revolt against corruption, nepotism, and the suffocating sense that nothing ever changes. Nepal's Gen Z protests have already toppled a prime minister. What might they topple next? How did it all begin? Is the social media ban in Nepal a catalyst or just the trigger? And is there more than meets the eye? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta, Mohan. The spark was digital, but the fire, political. For years, Nepal's youth endured corruption, coalition chaos, and broken promises. The September 4th social media ban was the match. By September 8th, tens of thousands of 13 to 28-year-olds, students, freelancers, small entrepreneurs had flooded Kathmandu and other cities, chanting slogans that blended humor with fury. Police responded with tear gas, water cannons, rubber bullets, and fatally, live rounds. Hospitals overflowed, curfews were slapped on cities. Even after the ban was lifted, protests intensified. This was no longer about apps. It was about accountability, dignity, and the right to a future. At the heart of the outrage sat one viral phrase, Nepo Kids. Young Nepalis blasted social media with side-by-side photos of ministers and their children enjoying elite schools, cushy jobs, and tropical vacations, while the youth of Nepal are jobless and struggling to make a living. What started as memes became manifestos. Generation Z saw in the ban not just censorship, but an attempt to silence the very channels exposing corruption. The anger over nepotism fused with economic frustration, unemployment, underemployment, migration, and that turned digital protest into street revolution. Nepal's ruling class, once untouchable, suddenly looked vulnerable.
Prime Minister has resigned, but that is not enough. The youth over here, they won't be satisfied just by the resignation of Prime Minister. We need Prime Minister to be in front of the people and be sorry for all the killings that he has done yesterday. Our friends, more than 20 friends have been killed, and many of the youths have been injured. They have been shot. So we need all those corrupt politicians and corrupt politics to be completely extinct. We don't need any of these corrupt politicians here in Nepal.
Sudhan Gurung, chairperson of the youth collective Hami Nepal, emerged as a visible voice during the September 2025 protests, embodying the simmering frustration of Nepal's younger generation. While the movement itself was largely leaderless and spontaneous, Gurung took the initiative to organize a rally at Kathmandu's Maitighar Mandala, calling on students and young citizens to join peacefully. He framed the protest not just as opposition to the government's social media ban, but as a wider critique of corruption, nepotism, and political stagnation, articulating the anger and aspirations of a generation that felt ignored by entrenched elites. Through his efforts, Gurung became a symbol of youth mobilization, showing how grassroots leadership could channel widespread discontent into organized civic action.
This has very much resemblance to what happened in Bangladesh, what happened in Indonesia. The students have taken really the situation into their own hands because they felt there was no hope. And one of the reasons for this is also, see, the two big parties got together to form a grand coalition, the two largest parties. And the rumor in Nepal was that this coalition has been formed because leaders of both the parties were under investigations for corruption by the previous government. And so to stop those investigations, they formed this coalition. And then they arrested one of the very popular leaders of one of the other parties, one of the newer parties, who has incidentally been released from jail today by the protesters. So I think, there was this sense that nothing is happening in the, within the existing institutions in Nepal. And these youngsters have taken the law into their own hands. So it's a very fluid situation. One really doesn't know, how it's going to pan out and develop. But it's something that I'm sure that India is also watching very, very carefully.
Netizens are whispering, is this Bangladesh all over again? A reference to how youth-led uprising in Dhaka toppled the government and redrew politics. The parallels are striking. An online trigger, students in the streets, a government underestimating its youth, and a death toll that hardened public opinion. In both cases, corruption and patronage networks became rallying cries. But Nepal adds another twist. Its post-monarchy democratic experiment is still fragile. Could these protests be the crucible in which a truly accountable republic is forged, or the prelude to another era of instability? Nepal's streets have a long memory. In 1951, a popular revolution ended the autocratic Rana regime and cracked open the door to democratic politics. 4 decades later, in 1990, another mass movement forced King Birendra to accept a constitutional monarchy and multi-party democracy, marking a seismic shift in how power was exercised. The pattern repeated in 2006 during the so-called People's Movement yet again, when months of protests and strikes toppled King Gyanedra's direct rule and set the stage for the monarchy's formal abolition in 2008. Each uprising promised a new dawn and a cleaner, more accountable government. Yet, by 2025, Nepal has cycled through more than a dozen governments, each accused of the same old sins: corruption, cronyism, and betrayal of public trust. The monarchy was once seen as corrupt and unaccountable. The republic was supposed to be the cure. Now Generation Z, raised on smartphones and global ideas of accountability, knows this history all too well and wants to break the cycle for good. Each uprising promised a new dawn. Each also carried unintended consequences. The monarchy was seen as corrupt. The republic promised accountability. Yet by 2025, Nepal has cycled through more than a dozen governments, each accused of the same old sins. Gen Z knows this history and wants to break it. When the monarchy fell, many believed Nepal had finally escaped hereditary privilege. Instead, privilege morphed. Former revolutionaries turned ministers and their children became the new Nepo Kids. KP Sharma Oli rose as a nationalist outsider, but ended as a symbol of everything he once opposed.
प्रारम्भिक अध्ययनमा यी सबै घटनाले स्पष्ट पार्छ पूर्व राजा ज्ञानेन्द्र शाहले संविधानको ऐतिहासिक निर्णयपछि भएको सम्झौताको उल्लङ्घन गर्नुभएको छ। यस देशमा सबैले संविधान मान्नुपर्छ, व्यवस्था मान्नुपर्छ। हल्ला गरेको भरमा राजनीति र संसद सबैलाई अवरोध गर्ने काम गर्न मिल्दैन। आपराधिक घटनामा संलग्न कसैले पनि उन्मुक्ति पाउँदैन, पाउनुहुन्न। यसमा पूर्व राजा शाहले पनि उन्मुक्ति पाउनुहुन्न।
Censorship, corruption, and callousness toward protest deaths. The Gen Z movement's fury is partly betrayal. The republic they inherited was supposed to be clean. Instead, it feels like the same old dynasty politics wearing democratic clothes.
They are the murderers of our nation. They killed our 14 years children on gunshot in head, and this is very brutal for our Nepal country. And I hope that now coming next PM will be good.
And then there's the Whisper campaign. Is America behind this? After all, most of the banned apps, Facebook, WhatsApp, X, YouTube, are American. Did Washington's deep state egg on the protests? There's no hard evidence. But in a country historically buffeted by Indian blockades, Chinese loans and Western aid, suspicion comes easy. Some leaders mutter about foreign plots. Protesters reply they don't need foreigners to be angry. The government's corruption is enough. Whether or not the United States of America had any hand, the optics of banning mostly US platforms fed the conspiracy mill and deepened the government's crisis. Nothing captured the moment like the flames licking Nepal's parliament building on 8th and 9th of September. Thousands of protesters breached security barricades, shouting anti-government slogans as thick smoke rose over Kathmandu. Within hours, the Home Minister resigned. Within a day, the Prime Minister did too. Private homes of top leaders, from Sher Bahadur Deoba to President Ramchandra Paudel, were vandalized or torched. This was more than a demonstration. It was a dramatic rejection of an entire political class. But could this also be clubbed as anarchy? These protesters are not veterans of the Maoist insurgency or the 1990 movement. They are digital natives who learned politics on YouTube and Reddit, not in underground cells. They earn side income from TikTok, code freelance for clients abroad, and organize on encrypted apps. The social media ban threatened not just free speech, but livelihoods and identity. When the state tried to unplug them, they rewired Nepal's politics instead. Whether this energy translates into lasting institutions or fades like previous uprisings is now the question. With Oli gone, the most immediate path is for a new majority coalition in parliament to choose a prime minister. This would fit Nepal's constitutional design and could, on paper, deliver stability. But it also risks repeating the same coalition fragility and horse trading that bred public disgust in the first place, making many Nepalis skeptical of this option.
You know, this social media ban on 26 apps, that was just a trigger. That was literally the last straw on the camel's back, because that means there was discontent and dissatisfaction that was within the people, particularly as far as the youth is concerned, Gen Z, as you said, and as it is being called the Gen Z revolution. So there was huge discontent, there was oppression, and the government had completely lost the confidence of the people. But of course, the discontent was much more deep-rooted and much more significant. So very sudden. And for India, of course, this is a matter of deep concern, because all around us we see that the governments are being, going out in a flurry of violence, so to say. First we had Bangladesh, we'd seen similar things happening in Sri Lanka also, and then even before that in Pakistan, Imran Khan had also sort of alleged claim that America was behind whatever had happened there. So I think it's a matter of great worry, and our people should take lessons from it and strengthen their own unity and solidarity.
If no stable majority emerges, the House can be dissolved and early general elections called. That would refresh the mandate and give voters another chance to punish or reward parties. Yet, given Nepal's fragmented party system, such an election might simply reshuffle faces without changing practices, leaving deeper frustrations unresolved. During a deadlock, the president has the constitutional power to appoint a neutral caretaker or technocratic cabinet to run day-to-day affairs while reforms or elections are prepared. This route can create breathing space, but without real reform, it can also look like a stalling tactic. Any government that ignores Generation Z's demands courts disaster. Transparency, youth participation, independent anti-corruption bodies, and digital rights protections could be the price of stability. Sustained street pressure could force genuine reforms rather than token gestures, giving this uprising a legacy beyond toppling a prime minister or a government. Nepal's 2015 federal system is still young and sometimes unwieldy. A post-protest consensus might fine-tune powers and budgets between federal, provincial, and local levels, reducing the perception of bloated central elites and making governance more responsive to local needs. The protests may also accelerate generational turnover. Established parties, the Nepali Congress, CPN-UML, and Maoists could splinter or be outflanked by youth-led movements. Nepal might see new alliances or even entirely new parties, promising digital freedom and clean governance. That would mark not just a change of leaders, but a change of political culture itself. Some pro-monarchy voices are indeed active, but the 2015 constitution makes restoration legally and politically remote. A referendum and supermajority would be required. Neither is on the horizon.
I think it is very possible, and the environment throughout the country had never been so congenial for this agenda. And if we can't restore the institution of monarchy in this country, there is no future for the youths in this country, and the existence of this country itself could be at risk.
For most protesters, the monarchy is not a solution, but a symbol of what they fought to end. Yet their frustration with the republic's failures could, if unmet, create nostalgia for royal stability. The lesson for Nepal's leaders: reform the republic or risk a vacuum where extreme ideas gain traction. Success in the streets is not the same as success in government. Coalition talks can drag, reforms can stall, old networks can sabotage change. Nepal's ethnic, linguistic, and regional diversity complicates any central blueprint. External players, India, China, even the West, will angle for influence as Nepal recalibrates. Without careful navigation, today's victory could become tomorrow's disillusionment. Nepal's September 2025 uprising is more than a social media story. It's a generational demand for a republic that actually works. From Prithvi Narayan Shah's unification to the Rana autocracy, from the Panchayat to the Maoist insurgency, Nepal has reinvented itself again and again at great cost. The Gen Z protests may be the next reinvention. They have already shown that digital natives can shake a government to its knees. What they have yet to show is whether they can build something better in its place. Will Nepal seize this moment to cleanse its politics, or will it once again watch a revolution fade into the same old routine? Thank you for watching Statecraft.